Alright. Hello everyone, welcome back to the videos. It is wonderful to have you guys here again as always. Today in this video, we've got Dazza on the hoist, also known as my VS Ute. He's gonna get a couple of bits and pieces because, well, he's been a bit of a dickhead. I'd really like to make something up to correct that falling position on these. Try and get a bit of anti-squat into it. Anyway, so this story goes. Oh, excuse me. I was out driving Dazza, bombing around in him, and well, I thought I'd put a little bit more boost into it, and I got it up to 17, and Mr. Transmission started being slippy, as these things are known for. I mean, they don't call them the 4L slippy for nothing. So yeah, it was not happy about what I was doing with it. Actually, I was surprised it was holding on as long as it was. Oh, excuse me, a bit tired. Yeah, I'm surprised it put up with what I put it through. 14 pounds of boost, and 2-3 power skids everywhere. So yeah, it really wasn't loving life to start with anyway. So I spent the last couple of days beefing it up a bit. I haven't gone too crazy with it. It uses a lot of the stock parts, but I just put a couple extra clutches in a few of the gears and a wide band and a shift kit. Ow. In hopes to stop that from being slippy. So anyway, my job this morning, I'm going to stab this guy back in, and then we're going to address the one wheel peel. So I will probably show you guys how to install a mini spool. Anyway, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing in and give it its gearbox back. Wasn't too bad. A little bit tighter in the trans tunnel here than the later model cars, but yeah, it still wasn't too bad to get out. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get this guy back in. We got a bit of a coolant leak on the rear plate. Do I do that now while it's apart and I'm here? God damn it. Is that coming out of the rear plate? I think so. Well, looks like I gotta have a look at that. I'll be back. Alright, so there we go. The trans is back in him. Dipstick in, cooler one's on, wiring's in, mounts are on and tight, bell housing bolts are on and tight except for the two at the top. I'll get those later. Now I'll go ahead and stab the tail shaft back in. I'll do up the rear flange bolts, the center bearing, and then we'll work on the diff, making it a little bit less bit less one-sided and very limited slip. And I'll show you guys how to do one of those. Anyway, I'm going to get this tail shaft in, and I will see you guys once I start on the diff. For that, the first thing obviously you're going to want to do is pop the wheels off, so I'll get those off once I get the tail shaft. Once I get the tail shaft back in, I will see you then. Okay, so tail shaft's back in, wheels are off, and I've had the rear cover off it for a little bit now. Drain all its oil out. Hopefully I'm not going to have to move the panhard bar out of the way, but very possible. Cross that bridge when I get to it. Next step is calipers off, rotors off on both sides. Then we can get to the axle bolts and pop the axles out of each, so then we can get the center out. Anyway, I'll come back once I've got calipers and rotors off and axles out of it. Okay, so through there you can get a socket and a ratchet, and there's 4 nuts on some studs that hold this retaining plate on, and the handbrake brackets, or bracketry, and they hold the wheel bearing in, so you can then pop them out. They don't need to come out very far, they just need to come out of the center. They'll probably take a bit of persuading to get them to move at first, but yeah, then you can pull them out of their homes enough, and then we'll get the center out. Alright, so then we have the center out. Did have a bit of a hard time getting the bloody thing out, so panhard rod had to come down. Brake bias adjustment also had to, and then we could pop the center out. So now that the center's out, we're going to go and undo all these crown wheel bolts around the perimeter here, and that will separate the center, and then we can get in there and get the mini spool in there. So once you get all the perimeter bolts out, keep in mind these are left hand thread as well. It's a trap for young players. So you'll separate the 2 housings. You need to punch the ring gear down off the center, sorry, and we will be replacing this piece and all these gears in the center, and then this piece on the other side. So to do that, there's a big pin that runs through the center here, so I'll go ahead and I'll punch that pin out, and then these 2 smaller pins will be able to come out, and then we can take the guts of it out, and then we can put the mini spool in the center. Okay, so I've come over here to the vise. So there are 3 roll pins here. They hold these larger pins in place through there, through that little hole in the roll pin. So once you punch those roll pins out, you can then punch the big pins out. I've left this one here and this one in there at the bottom, just to make it easier to put them back in, because they have to go back in. And then you can take that gear out of the center, this one here. So that's the one that the axle splines into. Down there you can see the splines, so that's what the axle splines into, and that's essentially what we're going to replace with the mini spool. So this is the mini spool. It's just one big lump of steel. Has your axle splines in the center, and then the four pins for these guys, these big 4 pins here. Essentially it's just going to sit in here in the middle, and it replaces all these spider gears and just locks this whole center together. And then we'll have limited slip differential stuff. Anyway, putting this thing back together is not too complicated. It's basically just the reverse of everything I've just done. So I'll go and punch the pins back in, put the roll pins back in, put the cover back on and the gear, and then it'll go back in the car. We'll slide the axles back in, put the panhard rod back up, brakes on, wheels on, fill it back full of oil, and that's job done. That's how to do a mini spool basically. They're not very complicated. I think for me the hardest bit was realizing that these roll pins were here. You could see them poking out this way, but I thought they were just to locate this backing plate. They are not. They serve a purpose. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get this back together and back in the car, and then I'll see you guys once I've gotten that sorted. Alright, so there we go. Axles are back in, center's back together and in. I torqued down the 2 or the 4 carrier bolts. It's back in. It's got its backlash set same as it was because I didn't touch any of that, and that other axle is in. Those axles are a bit of a pain in the butt, so if you're doing it at home, you've got to push the handbrake horseshoe over to get the backing plate back in. Once you get that, it's just a matter of redoing up the bolts. Anyway, I'm going to clean off that pan gasket seal, and then there on the cover, add some spastic all over it and glue it back on, and put some oil in it. Alright, well there we go, that's it. So we got the trans in, tail shaft, the mini spools in, or mini spoolie, topped him up, filled him back up with fresh oil, put the calipers back on. I'm just going to put the wheels on, and then we'll bring it down. I've got to do the top 2 bell housing bolts. Then we'll fill the trans with oil, top up the coolant because I had to do that rear backing plate and gasket. Bloody stupid thing. Chop the engine oil up because it dropped a bit of oil out of it. Then we'll go for a quick lap around the block, just make sure that the trans is doing all the shifty stuff, and that'll be about it from me in this video. Anyway, I'm going to get the wheels on and get it down on the ground, and I'll see you guys once I'm starting it up, getting it ready to run the trans through some gears and get some oil in it. Alright, well this is his maiden voyage. I'm not going to be thrashing it or beating on him or doing any skids or anything stupid. I just want to make sure that the transmission I just built works well, does everything it needs to do. Which so far it does. Second is a little bit harsh. Did want it to be nice and short and sharp. Also sounds like he's developing a little bit of a lifter rattle, so see what the go is with that, I guess. Bloody mini spool. my GoPro mount. Oh. Yeah, second's pretty punchy. Definitely loves that 1-2 shift. Alright. Well, Dazza's back on the road again. So I've got another trans to do for another particular Commodore you might have seen on the channel before, so I'll get it done during the week. And then we'll go on and enjoy these things. I gotta put some fuel in him. He's out of fuel. Oh, I didn't do the bloody thermostat. I'm gonna have to get more coolant again. I should have done that while it was empty. Anyway. That's where I'm gonna end it in this video, guys. Mr. Dazza the dickhead is ready to go again. He's now got a semi-built transmission, a mini spool, and still got, I can't show you very well, but he's still got stock head bolts and 98 fuel. So yeah, got a little bit of tweaking I've got to do on the tune, and then yeah, we'll go out and see how the trans goes. Hopefully it does well and does everything it needs to do. I did overfill it by about half a litre or so, but hopefully it can figure that out itself. But yeah, anyway, that's going to be it from me in this video, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Please leave, oh, didn't see that, I'm going to have to clean that off. Please leave your likes and comments down below. That's going to be interesting to clean off. I wonder what happened there. Anyway, thank you all again for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.